Oh, my name's Fox, and I told A&M Fox. And if you haven't noticed yet, not a lot of people do reviews of Wander Over Yonder. And I thought, why? Like, seriously, when people started looking at my videos, my reviews of Wander Over Yonder, which I think the first one was, I doubt it was the hack, but it was one of the first reviews I did of Wander Over Yonder. Maybe it was Battle Royale. I'm not sure. But ratings literally shot through the freaking roof. And I had no idea why. The show is awesome. It's amazing. It's freaking stupendous. And it's hilarious. Why the fudge is no one else talking about this dang show? And then yesterday I started watching the show, the Eye of Soul review of the series of Wander Over Yonder. Nothing against her, nothing against anything about, but nothing against her or anything. But I started watching her review, and she brought up some points which I'll say when I first. This is because the reason why I'm now back into cartoons and stuff like that, and not just anime, is, well, actually, if anything, I move. Well, I still watch anime every once in a while, but I move a little more towards, like, cartoons a little bit now, and I just like it. Heck, in Yu-Gi-Oh, one of my favorite monster types is Toons, though they're freaking hard to summon. Well, not really, but whatever. I started watching, and she brought up some points which I probably would have thought a little bit when I first watched it. Like one, like Adventure Time is what got me into cartoons again and stuff like that, and like, after Adventure Time, Steven Universe, and definitely after Steven Universe, I then started checking out the other ones, Wander Over Yonder, and so on and so forth. But my first episode of Wander Over Yonder was The Box. Holy fudge, I feel like I was on drugs. And this is coming from someone like, okay, what the fudge is with this? Why is everything so like this? And dude smiling, the box, the guy's on drugs. What the heck is going on here? I had no idea what the fudge was going on. I came in the middle of that episode. Probably not the best thing to do if you're just coming straight off fresh of this. Also, my first episode, I think, of Adventure Time was the one where he climbs the tree and he gets shrunk down with the squirrels. Not a good episode probably to start on either. Then again, even the first episode, I was like, what the fudge is going on? But I started watching it, and she brought up some points. The Eye of Soul I was watching, and she brought up some points. Like, I'll say if you start off from the beginning and stuff like that, yeah, you're not going to get some things, but it's still like these shows that I at least found out, you do need to watch them. Like, some people might say it has to grab you like that. Okay, yeah, I can understand that. But also some shows you kind of got to watch to slowly get the story, which I like. Again, I haven't said already, which I have. I know I have. The overlapping story is always what draws me in at times. Draws me in a little bit more. Adventure Time, whole nuclear apocalypse spoilers, and Steven Universe spoilers, the whole homeworld and world destruction thing, that the homeworld was trying to destroy the world and the war and everything. That is all a cool story that slowly overlaps. And if you randomly watch Steven Universe, randomly watch, I don't know, maybe she does watch all of it, I don't know, or maybe she watched second season, maybe she has a different opinion, but watching the series, or Gravity Falls even at times, Gravity Falls, yeah, but watching the series, if you watch it spastically, Adventure Time, any of them, if you watch it spastically, you're gonna watch like, okay, there's a few dumb jokes in here, there's some jokes in here, they're kind of funny, but it's just that, it's just a little bit of funny. Which is kind of like how her review is a bit. Though she says she does like the series, but she says that it's more just for kids. It's just a little dumb thing. Which, one, I don't know how many kids born within 2000 would get any of the Alien references. Alien maybe a little bit better, but the classic He-Man. Heck, there was one that someone sent me a link to about a cowboy in space, New Texas, spread out into space. And apparently the transformation of the horse, because I looked at the transformation of the horse in that show, looks almost exactly the same to Sylvia transforming in that He-Man episode, the cartoon. the whole thing with the, well, I guess the little toy car thing, but that little toy car looks like the old fashioned. That looks like something I would see like the Biker Mice from Mars or like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles driving back like late 90s, early 90s, around the 80s maybe. The 80s, I've seen 80s cartoons, like some of those are like if anything, there's still a VHS, there's still a box in over there with VHS tapes, and I can probably find my Biker Mice from Mars and probably my one Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle cartoons on there still. Not to mention anime and stuff like that. That still came from around then. I'm not sure when did G Gundam come out. G Gundam was my first Gundam thing. On probably my only one. I haven't seen the other ones, but like if you watch Wander of Elder and stuff like that, it's kind of I already have 6 minutes. Gosh dang it! But it's already up to like if you watch it sporadically, you're just gonna watch and you're just gonna see cartoon. If you don't try to look a little bit deeper, don't try to look at some things. And one thing, like she brought up things like Wander's character, saying, "Well, Wander's like well." In one, she said there's no continuity between episodes. Yeah, it kind of is. Especially since they bring them back up later on. There is the continuity between the episodes, and she also said that Wander is the main character, which yeah, he is. He is one of the main characters, being that it's always the pairs. I got to rewatch some of the original series, but I'm not sure if the beginning of the series. I'm not sure if the beginning of the series always had Wander and Hater, but if you've watched the show, you kind of watch and you kind of see Wander. It's not just Wander and Sylvia. They are a focus of the show, yes, but it's Wander, Sylvia, and Hater and Peepers. And it's watching these two groups go at their agendas. Sometimes Hater is seen as the antagonist, and then if you're following Hater's side, sometimes Wander is considered the antagonist to Hater. Which a good way to show that is The Gift. The Gift and then The Gifting 2. Being that, or I think it was The Gifting and The Gifting. But if you watch it if you see the first episode, it's Hater's story. Yeah, I think it was The Gifting, where it's Hater's story and you see like a kind of a quote-unquote plague going across Hater's ship and basically making all the watchdogs go kind of crazy. You're watching like, okay, what the fudge? And of course it's Wander, and you're like, what the fudge is going on? You're like, it's just okay, it's just funny. And then you watch from Wander's side, and then Wander's side it's kind of the exact opposite, where he's sneaking around the ship trying to give these gifts to everyone. So it's kind of like you kind of see from the two different perspectives of the quote-unquote bad guy and the quote-unquote good guy. Both of them are still technically the protagonists of their own story, and we kind of follow that, and that's kind of a cool thing. And also, some people can even argue, some people said even in the comments, that really Wander of Yonder is about Hater, that it's about Hater slowly changing, which I could honestly say, yeah, that's also another way you can look at this. It's a pretty cool thing, but again, if you just watch it sporadically, or if you don't watch all of it through, especially towards this, or look for the things, you kind of get okay, this is just a dumb little cartoon. But it's not. Though, mind you, she does bring up, like, the saying that the characters like Bugs Bunny and stuff like that, that it reminds of old cartoons like that are just for entertaining, and I'm thinking, okay, yeah, they are, of course, to entertain, but also being entertaining, but also having the message, but then also having this entire story all around it is kind of helpful at times. And I really do, and I do like that. That's just it's just pretty fun. And then she also talked about Wander's character a little bit more. I think I already said she talked about that, but whatever. She said that Wander never grows, that a character needs roots to grow, but that he doesn't need roots because he's always just a happy character, and that he should automatically, and that he should know that the world is trying to kill him, and then he should just wake up at some point. I think Wander knows the world wants to kill him. He knows drastically well, but that's what kind of motivates him a little bit more to try to make it a better place. To try, and I don't mean like for his own safety. I mean he's trying to cancel out hate. He's trying to. Wow, that kind of actually comes full circle with Hater, but he's trying to cancel out evil. He's trying to be good no matter what, even if they're jerks to him, if they're a-holes to him, he still wants to be the good guy. He wants to bring them into becoming good. He wants to make them happy. He wants to bring the world to peace. That's not... And if he ever woke up like, oh my gosh, the world's trying to kill me, I should hide or run, or maybe I shouldn't do this, that wouldn't be him trying to make the world better. Like I've said in the theory video for Dominator's Past, Wander is the pure force of good. No matter what the situation is, he must always take the good path because that's what he wants to do. He wants to make the world better no matter what the cost, whether it be his life on the line or not, which you've seen multiple times. His life has been on the line because of his good deeds. Sylvia is the thing that keeps him from dying majority of the time. I'm thinking about like the sock episode. That one Wander did with the sock. Like, what, is this your sock? Saki! Yeah, let them go. Be free. But Wander, he's supposed to be that pure force of good, and Sylvia is supposed to be that thing that pulls him back. Which she even brings up a little. The Eye of Soul also brought up how Hater is basically like a teenager or something like that, which, yeah, he basically is. I haven't seen Adventure Brothers, but she made comparisons between them, which I could probably say there's probably a few other comparisons you could probably make also between other things. But also, one thing, but, yeah, like, I don't know, just watching, it's not a bad, it's, her review, I'm saying, like, it's not too... She has her own opinions, and maybe she doesn't watch as much or, theorize as much about the things. I'm not saying anything bad about her. If she ever watches the video, I'm not trying to say anything bad. Don't kill me with your subscribers. Yeah, I doubt she would. She doesn't seem like a bad person, but it's like she says like this shit, like she said it's just a dumb little thing, but she also says that I brought up. She says Wander doesn't have roots, which yes, we don't have solid backstory of exactly what the backstory is. Also, Han Solo reference with the Rick Ryder guy who used to ride with Sylvia. Technically, because he looks kind of, he's like, if he's supposed to be, I think he is supposed to be Han Solo. But if they had Harrison Ford to voice him, that'd be funny as heck. But they just what was I talking? Like they say, like, yeah, we don't get a total backstory, but we get enough backstory to where it's probably kind of a little bit similar to the Adventure Time backstory of like Marceline a little bit. Like what is it? I Remember You, which one made me tear up. I liked that. I liked that one where it's like you didn't know these two kind of had a history together, but through this episode you get little tidbits about it. You get little tidbits about the history and stuff like that. Mind you, I kind of would have liked a little bit more of that, a little bit more with Marceline's vampire hunting thing. Mind you, I still like Stakes, but I would have liked a little bit more if they would have just pieced that out a little bit more, showing that she did hunt the vampires down and stuff, but whatever, just showing it's fine, but I would have liked a little bit more just droplets of the idea of it going through a little bit more, but let me think. I'm trying to think. You don't. It's already 14 minutes. Fudge me. You get. Yeah, you don't get the exact backstory of Wander, sure. Except even like right now with the whole, what was it? The legend. We can probably guess some of that backstory for Wander is true. Maybe a little bit, if only the part where he's from a bunch of nomads who try to bring world peace, galaxy peace. But we do at least get that the reason why Wander isn't the kind of stereotypical super super or hero type guy, like what's his face, Brad Starlight. Which, yeah, even Brad Starlight's kind of like the prince from Shrek, or Prince Charming from Shrek a little bit. But he tries to be the stereotypical hero, and that's what, like, Wander. He doesn't try to be a stereotypical villain or hero where it's like, oh, I have to beat up the bad guy and win. No, we learn that the reason why he doesn't do that is because he was helpless at some point. He felt helpless, so he tries to make the world better by helping it. Yeah, we don't get an exact backstory, but we do get roots. We do see a reason why he is so good, a reason why he is like how he is. Mind you, it looks like majority of this review was done during season 1, so yeah, we didn't get any of the backstory then, but that was more building up the world and stuff. And also, she also says like, she says this doesn't really have lasting properties, that this isn't a show that's going to last. Well, one, I don't mean that by, like, the show's about to cancel in June. No, I don't mean like that. I mean, like, she says, like, people really won't remember this. Like, of course, people probably remember Adventure Time or, Adventure Time, let me see, what was it? Adventure Time, Steven Universe. Yeah. She says Wander Over Yonder basically won't be remembered. I think it honestly will, because it is one of those good shows. Like, you can show this to anyone, and it's pretty good. And yes, there's the funny jokes and stuff like that, but then you also got all the references in there, all the things like that. That's just awesome. Seeing the characters kind of slowly. Well, Wander doesn't evolve, but Hater slowly does evolve a little bit more. Wander kind of evolves a bit, and it's more or less just seeing how good he tries to be, and we just slowly see how much more crazier he is to where he always needs the help. And also, seeing Sylvia always save him, But it is pretty fun. The Eye of Soul kind of had a least and favorite episodes, which her least favorite was the one about the little guy, which was the one about the chubby little watchdog. Which, I don't know, maybe I gotta rewatch it. I thought the episode was fine. Yeah, you kind of guessed what was gonna happen, but I thought it was fine. It was alright. That was the whole thing about, yeah, it was alright. What was the other? And then her favorite episodes was The Box, and what was the other one? The Box. Oh, and The Good Guy, I believe it was, where Wander is so good that they run him out of town. That he runs himself out of town. Those episodes, well, The Box is pretty psychedelic, if anything, funny. But yeah, even The Good Guy I kind of like, because that one's just straight up. Well, he has to be good no matter what, even if people really don't want it at times. He still tries to be good, which kind of shows a little bit more of his character, which I kind of like. And which I kind of like. Though, if anyone's watched my reviews, you know that, like, my favorite episodes are Battle Royale and right now My Fair Haiti. Those are, like, my two favorite episodes. She also said that she didn't like Peepers. That Peepers is just there. No. At least from my perspective, Peepers isn't just there to be there. Again, like I've always brought up, there's always the duality. It's kind of like, if anything, it's kind of like Kingdom Hearts. And she actually has a Kingdom Hearts poster in her video, but it's kind of like Kingdom Hearts in a sense that in Kingdom Hearts, there's usually the group of three. And I don't know if anyone else, I'm pretty sure a lot of people else have noticed this, but there's always the two guys and then the girl. You have, and if you're talking about Twilight, if you're going to tell me, oh no, Twilight Town, there was 4, Roxas, Pencer, Hayner, and Oliette. Digital world. In outside of the digital world, Pence, Hayner, Oliette. But you always have the three characters who are always the close-knit characters, kind of, which actually I kind of hope they bring that up a bit. I hope that's actually a part of something. Like the something of 3 or something. I don't know. And that sounds a little Star Wars-y, but because you got Riku, Sora, Kairi, Roxas, Axel Shiun, Hayner, Pence, Oliet. What was the other ones? Hayner, Pence, Oliet. I'm pretty sure it was one. Traverse Town. Traverse Town has The World Ends With You characters in Birth by Sleep, but that's even 4. And not to mention it's 202. Actually, that actually might work also, since Neku and Shiki are both. Well, actually, they're in separate worlds, I think. Are they? Yeah, they are, I believe. So, technically, those two are on separate. Or, like, Neku and Shiki are on one world. Beat and Rhyme are on another world. Of the two worlds of Sora and Riku. And then Joshua is the third between all of them. So, yeah, technically, that's even the rule of 3 of the characters. But, yeah, it's kind of something like that. You always have the group, mind you, not with a few other characters who are like, you know, the bad guys, but at least for Wanderer, and you see the the characters all help each other work out. Peepers always helps Hater try to become his best and greatest, and you see a connection and friendship there. Yes, Hater says that they're not friends, but you know he is, especially if you're gonna say that he's basically like a teenager, an angsty teenager. Yeah, he's gonna say, I have no friends, even though he has a friend that's freaking right there. But yeah, that's just my thing. Like, on the surface, if you just look at it sporadically, Wanderer of Yonder probably doesn't look that much like anything. Neither does Steven Universe and Adventure Time. Really, because honestly, I saw people love Adventure Time years. I came into Adventure Time season 5. Around that time is when when I started then watching Adventure Time, though I watched it from season 1, but season 5, 4, around there. No, I think it's the one. I think I started getting to Adventure Time when they talk about Finn's dad, and then I'm like, okay, let me rewatch this from the beginning, because I saw it everywhere, and I'm looked at it, I'm like, okay, one, the people who I see who watch this all look like they smoke. Not cigarettes, but they look like they smoke. And I knew some people who did smoke who watched it. So I'm just like, okay, this is probably one of those things where you watch it on drugs and then you just suddenly, oh my god, this is awesome. But, what? And I'm just like, okay, it's probably one of those. And then I started doing research into it, which I kind of stinks because I kind of missed some things, but then I still kept some things like Marceline's story and stuff. But like, I didn't know that it was a post-apocalyptic thing. Which then I'm thinking, okay, sweet, post-apocalypse. Holy fudge, I love those stories. Let me watch it. And I started watching it. Fudge, I watched them again. I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm on drugs. And now it's just a common feeling while watching it. But you slowly see that world evolve also. And then Steven Universe. I first saw the trailers for the show, and like showed Steven with the cat fingers and like the belly button. And I'm like, okay, the belly button gem. And I'm thinking, okay, the joke is he's fat, right? The joke is he's fat and that he's not really a good magic user, or this ability using these powers, that he's going to be part of some like Power Ranger type group, but he's going to be, the silly fat kid. So it's not going to be, so it's just going to be some dumb little thing. I'm thinking, okay, this is going to be a stupid show. This show is going to be stupid. Steven Universe is now one of my favorite shows, if not favorite. And also, to be fair, the first few episodes, they do play up that he's a bigger kid. Mind you, they remedy that up frickin' quick. But then they go into the deep story and everything, and I like that. That's fun. It's awesome. Steven Universe is one of my favorite shows right now. And Wanderer of Yonder is kind of the same thing. Especially, like, Steven Universe, I think I got into it around Giant Woman. Yeah, if anything, that is about around where I started getting into Steven Universe. Giant Woman, I started watching it from there. and it solidified as one of my favorite shows, and solidified as one of the shows that I should be watching from beginning to end when I saw, what was it? Because I watched it sprastically. I didn't watch like all of them in order at first. I watched it sprastically, and I watched Steven Universe. I watched it sprastically, but then when and I got little tidbits of some things that were happening, like, oh, there was a war here and stuff like that. And I'm like, okay. And I got little tidbits here and there, and I got like a little thing. I started looking at some theories, like, oh, okay. Or I looked at Garnet when she had her 2 gem thing. I'm like, okay, does she have 2 weapons or something? And then when I saw the fusion episode, I'm like, okay, she's probably a fusion. Turns out I was right, even though I was still freaking surprised. Especially how awesome it led the tidbits on her being a fusion. Spoiler alerts, but when they showed the return and the jailbreak, those 2 episodes kind of being some of my favorites of the series, I watched those and I'm like, fudge, this is one of my favorite shows now. And then I watched it from beginning to end and all the way to now. But it's one of my favorite. It is one of my favorite shows, and Wander of Yonder is kind of a similar thing. I started watching it. There doesn't really seem to be a story. If anything, Wander of Yonder, yes, you have all the different worlds. Which one? This is not a dumb show, at least I would say, because these worlds, each world that Wander of Yonder is a fun show, and in like all of these episodes, my whole point of that was sometimes you have to watch a little bit to kind of get the story. I kind of think I brought this up in the beginning of the episode, but you kind of got to watch a little bit, watch it through, and you slowly see the story piecing itself together. About Wander being that he has to be good, and then learning about his past a little bit with him being helpless, you then know that he has a reason for being this good. You learn about Sylvia's past, how Wander is who helps Sylvia. You kind of get a little bit of Hater and Peepers with their relationship and how they act and interact with each other. And also things like how Peepers even tried to do it without Hater, and you see he doesn't command as much respect or fear as Hater does. So you kind of see how all of them work off each other. You just kind of see that own story laying out. And then as soon as you hit with Dominator and everything, now the crap has hit the fan, which is Dominator is kind of like the Lich, if anything. Dominator is kind of like the Lich of Adventure Time, where she is the main, and also she had the Eye of Soul has a Lich shirt, which is actually kind of funny. But she is the Lich is what defined, okay, this is the pure evil. This is one of the worst bad guys they're gonna fight. Though, mind you, got other guys like Zorgazor, but the Lich is basically one of the worst bad guys they're gonna fight. And thus, then, you have Finn and the Lich, the 2 bad guys, which, yeah, it's not always seen, but that is the kind of the battle and the struggle. And that's kind of like here now. We now have Wander against Dominator. Yes, Hater has appeared every once in a while, which Hater is, if anything, kind of similar to the Ice King. Was kind of similar to Ice King, but yeah, you kind of see that happening. Anyways, it's a fun show. If you haven't picked it up yet, I definitely say check it out. It's fun. It's awesome. I think it does have lasting power. Like even the Eye of Soul, she says, like the other McCragen. I've already been talking for like 30 minutes, so yeah, I'm sorry, but McCragen talked about, like, she said that this doesn't, Eye of Soul, she said that this doesn't have as lasting power as the Powerpuff Girls or Foster Home for Imaginary Friends, which those shows were all right. Maybe I gotta rewatch them. I like Powerpuff Girls. I love Samurai Jack. I'm not sure if McCragen did that, but I know there's a connection between Powerpuff Girls and Samurai Jack. I like, what was the other one? Fudge me, what was the other one? Cannot remember. Foster Home for Imaginary Friends. And I don't mean that in a bad way. That I used to watch that show also. But, Cheese was so freaking annoying, but so dang hilarious. But, it was, those shows are awesome, and maybe they will have they are fun. They're a fun series and stuff like that. But honestly, if I wanted to show anyone a show by this guy, I would probably show them Wander Over Yonder. And nothing against those older shows, nothing against them. But the reason why, again, Wander Over Yonder is, one, the references are awesome, and that kind of leads into, like, well, I don't get that joke. I don't get, like, what's with the ship and the little monster that shoots acid? Oh, let me show you aliens. What about that guy which raises his banjo in the air and goes, I have the power? Oh, or the time when they all say, I have the power. I'm like, oh, let me show you He-Man. And then not only that, but one, the animation I think is probably one of the better ones of the shows. Although Samurai Jack, I like Samurai Jack, but like you can watch like Powerpuff Girls and stuff like that, and still the animation doesn't look but still nothing against them. I like them. I used to watch them a lot. But heck, when the Powerpuff Girl movie came out, I went to Subway. I didn't even like Subway, and I bought the little toys. Got the little toys back then, but and those were straight up toys. Were like, oh, you brushed your hair. Mind you, I still played with them like, yeah, Power Beam. But yeah, Laser Beam. But yeah, I would probably show them this because one, the animation's awesome, the coloring's awesome, which I've noticed if anything ever moves from Cartoon Network to Disney, whether it be Star Wars: The Clone Wars or McCragen or the dude who, or like the art style and everything from the guy of Invader Zim, it's something ninth grade ninja. The coloring always is very nice and pretty, and then the animation is usually pretty dang good. And mind you, I don't want to see Steven Universe go over to Disney. No, I like Steven Universe on Cartoon Network, but you see that Disney kind of backs them up a bit for like their animation and stuff, which is pretty good. Either way, fun show. Just my thoughts on why some people might not watch it or might not review it as much as like me, and also some points for people to start watching and to start reviewing and stuff like that. But either way, thank you everyone so much for watching. If you want to check out more videos that I've done, please click in the description below. Please check out all my other videos, and we will see you later.